Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Today we're going to talk about sexually transmitted infections. That'll be the first half of the slideshow. The second half will be on sexually transmitted diseases. So let's start off with just some statistics. Oh, by the way, you don't need to write any notes. Just listen, pay attention. There will be a short assessment afterwards. Um, okay, so in Minnesota, this was in the year 2018. There were chlamydia. The most common STI in the world is chlamydia. As you can see here, there was about 23,000 cases reported in Minnesota. Gonorrhea is the second most common, and followed by syphilis, which is pretty rare, but of all the STIs, this one is a deadly one, as we'll learn. And then 75% of all cases occur in the 15, 24-year-olds, and I want you to think about why that is. I also believe, because many people don't get tested or treated for various reasons, embarrassment, denial, lack of health care and health insurance, many people don't get tested, so these numbers are probably higher. All right, so sexually transmitted, what are they? Infections, sorry. These are diseases or infections. They're spread from one infected partner to another during sexual activity. This could be during sexual intercourse, penis enters the vagina, oral sex, which is the mouth on a partner's genitals, or anal sex. All of those different sexual activities can spread these bacteria or viruses, these germs. So there's different types of germs that cause STIs and STDs. The first most common is bacteria. The second most common is viruses. There's just one or two funguses, and then a parasite, which we'll talk about towards the end of this slideshow, is pubic lice, or AKA crabs. Life's a beach. Watch out for crabs. All right, so how do these spread? These germs live directly or on the skin, or in the body fluids, I should say, such as semen, vaginal secretions, and blood. They cannot live in saliva, urine, mucus. They can only live in these body fluids. And these diseases are spread by direct contact with a sore or with contact with body fluids that contain these germs. So the three most common bacterial infections, and by the way, there's many, I think there's over 30 in our world, but these three are the most common. These are ones we're going to focus on: chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis. So we'll start with chlamydia because it is the most common. It's a bacterial infection. It's estimated about 3 million new people are infected every year. Like I said earlier, probably that number is a lot higher. It's also known as the silent infection because 75% of women and 15% of men who have it will have zero symptoms. But if there are symptoms, burning during urination is one of the most common. So when you go to the bathroom, it might feel like a strong burning sensation. Ouch. For women, they may have some abnormal vaginal discharge or abdominal pain, might sort of feel like menstrual cramps. And then for males, if they have a symptom, it could be abnormal discharge from the penis or the swelling of the testicles. Chlamydia is also easily treatable with antibiotics. Of course, the person has to be tested before the doctor can prescribe these antibiotics. That's why it's so important. If somebody has been sexually active and they fear they might have gotten one of these infections, they need to run, not walk, to the doctor. However, consequences if not treated. This is the scary part. And this is especially affects the women. The bacteria will damage the reproductive system. As you can see here, this is a close-up picture of the fallopian tube. And remember when we learned about the reproductive system, this is the magical tubes where fertilization takes place. And these chlamydia and gonorrhea can damage this fallopian tubes, kind of builds up with some scar tissue, so the egg can't travel through, or the sperm can't travel through either. So the fertilization can't take place. However, now with advancement in medical technologies, this sometimes can be reversed, but not all the time. And then here's just the rates by county. I'm not going to go through this, but you can see Hennepin, Ramsey County have high rates, of course. These other red areas are where big college or universities are located. All right, next one is gonorrhea. This is also caused by a bacteria. It's very similar to chlamydia. It's just a different bacteria. The second most common. Many times there are no symptoms, but if there are, just like with chlamydia, burning, itching, discharge for women, and for males, they may have a cloudy, foul-smelling pus discharge from the penis, or they may have pain during urination. Same with the consequence, same treatment, which is antibiotics, and the same consequences if not treated, infertility and sterility. All right, syphilis, the third bacterial infection we're going to talk about is caused by a bacteria. Once again, it's treated with antibiotics, and it progresses through 3 stages if not treated. So unlike the other two, if a person contracts syphilis, they will for sure have the following symptoms. The first symptoms may appear the next day or shortly after they were infected, either through oral sex or vaginal sex. They'll get a painless sore. As you can see, it doesn't look painless, either on the mouth or the genitals, and it can last up to 6 weeks and heal without treatment. But eventually that sore will go away, and then the second stage will, in the second stage, a body rash appears. And for some reason, this body rash usually appears on the palms of the person's hand or the bottoms of the feet, but it can really show up anywhere. Like in this picture here, this guy got him on the bottom of his feet, and this poor dude got the syphilis rash on his face. Now, so in the first 2 stages, syphilis can still be treated with antibiotics, but sadly, once it hits the 3rd stage, and this can start anytime from 1 year to several decades later, so people with syphilis can live a really, really long life, many not even really knowing they have the bacteria, but inside their body organs are being damaged. Their joints, their brain, their nerves, eyes, heart, blood vessels, liver. So that's kind of a slow, very slowly acting bacteria. So if the person doesn't die from something else, like more common heart disease or cancer in their life, they will eventually die from syphilis. So when I was doing my research, I came across this picture, and the caption said that this is a syphilis victim. The bacteria actually ate away the bone, the cranium of his, cranium, we know that's the skull. All right, so that is syphilis. It's like you can see here, the numbers are really low compared to the other 2 bacteria. All right, just to review, chlamydia, there was 23,000 cases in Minnesota, about 7,500 of gonorrhea, and about 918 of syphilis. All right, so that is the 3 bacterial infections, the most common. Now we're going to move into the viral STDs. So these are the diseases. So once a person gets a virus in their body, it will always be in their body. However, they won't always be showing symptoms. All right, so first one, genital herpes. So genital herpes is caused by a virus called herpes simplex 2. You may have heard of oral herpes, which is the virus called herpes simplex 1, which causes cold sores. That is not a sexually transmitted disease, but genital herpes is. So once a person has this, it can't be cured. And what happens with genital herpes, it will cause genital sores, like they're like little blisters or outbreaks. And most of the time, a person has these outbreaks once or twice a year, so they don't always have these sores. Another thing to note is that genital herpes cannot cause damage to the reproductive system. Next one is the human papillomavirus, or HPV. There was 80 strains of this virus, and most of them have no symptoms or consequences. There's a few strains that will cause genital warts. There's one strain that has been linked to cervical cancer in women, cancer of the cervix. They think 20 million Americans are infected with HPV, but like I said, many don't know it. If they haven't been tested, they have no signs or symptoms. There is a vaccine that doctors recommend for teenagers called Gardasil. Your doctor might have talked to you about this, or you might have gotten this vaccine. A little bit more about genital warts. Like I said, it's caused by the HPV virus, and these can be removed by a doctor, just like with warts on your fingers or toes, and they may or may not come back at a later time. There's what the warts might look like. Next one is HIV/AIDS. HIV is a human immunodeficiency virus. AIDS is acquired immunodeficiency virus. This virus can live in blood, semen, vaginal fluids, and breast milk, and it attacks the immune system. After this video, I'm going to put this video here as a separate link, so I want you to watch this. There's a lot more information in this video that is important to know. And the last but not least is pubic lice, aka crabs. They are called crabs as a nickname because they look like crabs. They cling to the pubic hair, they feed off the person's blood, and they spread very, very quickly because the female species lays 50 eggs and so on and so forth, so they spread very quickly. Pubic lice can be spread most commonly through sexual contact, but also pubic lice, these things can live on towels, damp clothing, bedding, so they can be, yeah, you have to be careful. These are really common in dormitories where people live in close quarters, so just remember not to share those things. So pubic lice signs and symptoms, they're visible, so they could be seen without a microscope. They will leave little bluish marks where they've bitten, little bruises. The biggest thing is they cause severe itching of the pubic hair region, and because it can be spread through sexual contact and through towels, sharing towels and whatnot, it's easiest to get. Now, it's also important to note that pubic lice is neither an infection or a disease, but we put it in this category just because it affects the genital region. Here's a couple pictures. This is what they look like. Gross. This is one underneath a microscope. You can see those claws that they grab onto with. And luckily, this is easily treatable. They sell medicated shampoos or creams over the counter, so if anybody's comes into contact with them, they can go to your local drugstore and buy the medicated shampoos or creams. After this video, I also want you to watch this short little video. It talks a lot about how you can prevent from getting this and reducing your risk of contracting this. I know I went through this quickly, but you can always watch it again if you missed something, or if you have questions, send me an email. All right? Have a happy, healthy day and stay safe.